Hey, I'm Mark.
And I'm Craig.
This is Songwriter's Tales, and this is part two of our Artist Spotlight series with Madeline Rose. Uh, Craig, tell us.
Madeline Rose is in Nashville, Tennessee, and she comes out of Maryland, and she is a force to be reckoned with. You're going to want to know
That's an understatement.
more about Madeline Rose from our podcast. If you haven't seen part one, you need to go to it right now. Watch that. Come straight back here and catch part two. You're going to be absolutely amazed. What do you say, Mark?
There's nothing left to say, Craig, but let's do it.
Too.
That's awesome. That is
Yeah, it
great.
took a minute and I really wanted it to feel right. So it took like almost 3 years to have that song be
It took
finished.
it took the time it was supposed to take, and
Yeah, and I really believe that. You need to wait and be connected with the right people and wait for the right moment
no
to put it out.
question. Absolutely no question. I think that the first person, the song obviously moved her enough to go, oh, hey, I just want to contribute to getting this song out there. So come in, sing it, and then, you found the right guy to help you bring it to life. So that's so cool. That's so cool. And, one of the things that Craig and I have discovered from talking to a lot of different songwriters, we've talked to an artist songwriter named Michael Peterson the other night, and he had a big couple of years in Nashville, and, but he really enjoyed the writing process more, I think, than being an artist, honestly. And he's still an artist, but now he does it. He performs for the troops, and he's done like 250 shows for soldiers but everybody that we've talked to understands the power of music and understands the healing properties of music and for someone like your brother who, and that's so common, a lot of autistic people gravitate to music, because it's a language they understand. They understand it in their own way, but they understand it and it brings them peace or it brings them clarity or whatever it does, but it calms them down. But so your story really just kind of basically echoes everything that we've heard from other writers and other even producers who say, I heard that song and I knew it was going to be something. I mean, I just heard someone sing it and I went, oh, that needs to be out there. And so it doesn't surprise me that I haven't even heard the song, but it doesn't surprise me that someone said, come in and record it. I'm not going to charge you. I just want to hear, I want to be a part of that. And I think that's what music does. I think it, we can disagree about a lot of things, and there's a lot of things in the world that we can all agree or disagree about, and even different kinds of music. But when we hit a common chord, like, oh, I love that too. And that song moves me too. And I think that, you know, I think we're privileged to be a part of the music thing. I think I'm not an artist, so I don't have the same gifts that you and Craig do, but I'm a writer. But I think we're all gifted and we're all very, very fortunate to have the gifts that we do. And, for you to not take it for granted and to use this as another connection point with your brother, I think is beautiful. And I hope, I really hope the song goes exactly where it's supposed to go, wherever that is. And we don't know.
You. Yeah, I think for me, like, the most comforting thing about songwriting is, like, you take these emotions or experiences that are, like, so emotional or so intense or, like, at the time, it felt like my family was the only family going through this crazy thing, and, like, dealing with all of that, coming to terms with, like, our life and how our life is gonna be in the future, and then just, like, kinda tying it into a bow in, like, 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes. Feels,
Hmm.
like, so healing. It's almost like a way to, like, name your emotion and create something where, like, it's, like, that feeling and that time of, like, discovering Ethan's abilities and his intelligence was, like,
Mm,
so sacred and special, so, like, to kind of, like, wrap that up in a bow into a song and, like, savor it forever is, like, so special, and we'll have that forever, and I think what's also so amazing is I hope that it finds other people with autism who experience life the same way Ethan does, and also for their
right.
families, for their siblings, being like, "Ugh, this is, like, one of us. This is one of our kind."
Yeah,
And, like,
that
Exactly.
he's
that
silenced for so long, and it's like, yeah, his song's gonna be on Spotify, and you can read the
yeah.
lyrics online, and, like, he did that, and, like, we get to do it together.
You know, you said something just now that, and I was going to mention this earlier when you mentioned the podcast, the telepathy podcast. That must have been that must have been just the pressure just went out because all of a sudden you go, we're not alone. You know, to
Mhm,
find out that you're, you know, that oh my gosh, you know, there's a whole. I mean, it's kind of wild to say that there's a whole community of people out there that have been dealing with this, you know, and
Mhm,
that's the thing that amazed me. Um, and as Mark said, we have seen a common thread. You know, we work with veterans, writing songs with veterans, and it's not uncommon for veterans, you know, to be suicidal and to come across that whole, you know, that whole mindset there, and then to
mhm,
see where the songs are part of the healing and part of the release and part of just, you know, that thing that gets them back to their center. And
mhm,
you know, none of us can explain it, and even on a lower level, or not a lower level, but a more elementary level, you hear a song that reminds you of your past, a good time of your past, or, you know, if it's going to the
mhm,
beach or something and, you know, from high school taking spring break and just having a carefree week or 2 weeks and just, you know, that one song that you heard. I don't know if you know this song or not because it's a really old song, but you probably actually do, Madeline. Maggie May by Rod Stewart. Do you know that song? You ever heard that song? You never heard that song, is it?
you probably have, but you just don't, but
maybe.
yeah.
It came out, I wanna say late '60s, probably, maybe early '70s, and,
Mhm,
I can remember actually, I traveled that back to Miami. I'd moved to Atlanta in '66, and a few years later went back. So it was late '60s when it came out. And I was probably, I want to say 12, 13 years old, 14 maybe, driving around with this buddy of mine, and that song came on the radio. And I think I was in Coral Gables. We were driving through Coral Gables, and I can remember it. And that's been a while. I can see it in my mind. I can feel it. I can almost smell the same air because we had all the windows down when that song came out, and just what all the mandolin came on and the tempo and the whole vibe of the song. And there's something so mystical about music that the three of us aren't going to be able to tell anybody in this audience what it is. We can tell you what it does, and we can tell you that it is, but what it is, I think we're going to have to wait to get that answer. You know?
yeah, agreed,
Yep.
agreed.
Yep.
But whatever it is again, I feel very fortunate. I feel fortunate to get to talk to artists like you, Maddie, who, who get it and who, you study music, you know how much you love music, you studied theater, but, the universe or God or whatever you wanna call it steered you into songwriting because you have a gift that people, you know, not everybody has, and people who don't have it don't really understand the process of writing a song. And those of us who do write songs still don't understand the process sometimes because, like you said, sometimes it just falls in your lap, and sometimes it's like pulling teeth to get anything. But yeah. So yeah, I was going to ask you earlier, who are your songwriting influences? Because,
Yeah.
musical theater is such I mean, the people who write songs for musical theater are freaking geniuses because let me tell you, either they wrote the play as well. And so the song has to be a part of a bigger story that they're writing, or they have to interpret the playwright's ideas. So musical theater is such a style upon itself. But as a pop singer, who do you gravitate to? Who did you go? Oh my God, I want to do that.
Yeah, well, I spent so much time listening to musicals, like, in high school and college because I was always in a musical, and then I was
Sure.
like that was the rap I was learning in school, and then the opera and classical influences. Like when I was in school, I was doing choir 4 days a week at school, and then I sang at a church choir. So I just had choir music and theater music in my head all the time that like I didn't start listening to pop music until later, which is pretty hilarious. As a kid, like Lady Gaga was like my pop star. Like I loved
Mm,
her and felt so connected to her. And I think because she was so like theatrical
very
and her
much.
concerts were like a show, like, I couldn't get enough. My grandma would be like, "Turn that down. I don't know what that is. Turn Broadway radio back on. This is crazy." And I was like, "No, you don't get it." Like, she's
Mm,
amazing. So I love, like, the theatrics, and I kind of love how, like, a lot of pop stars now are kinda bringing that theatrical vibe
yeah,
back, like
yeah,
Chappell Roan and Sabrina Carpenter and Olivia Rodrigo, like, everything is a production, and there's dancers, and there's costume changes, like, I eat it up, I love it. But, like, I would say nowadays, like, who's on my Spotify and who
yeah,
I just
yeah.
listen to the most are, like, I love Lorde, I love Noah Kahan, Lizzie McAlpine, Audrey
Mm,
Hobart, she's very theatery,
mhm,
Ray is one of my favorite artists right now.
mhm.
I love her stuff. Olivia Rodrigo, Sabrina Carpenter, I already said those,
Yeah,
Chappell
yeah.
Roan. Like, I
Yeah,
love
yeah.
all of those pop artists, and I'm, like, really loving this era of
So
music.
so are you prepared to sit in a room with 18 other writers and producers and stuff when you write? It seems like when I look on the credits for those songs, it's like there must be 12 writers on that song.
I know, and I really can't imagine that. I don't know how that
Can't
works because
either.
I write so much by myself or with, like, one other person or one other
Mhm.
producer, and I kinda like to keep it that way.
I hear you.
Like, I think when it gets, like, to 3 or 4, it's, like it's hard.
Mhm. Well, I
It's hard to
here's
bounce off, like
I'm gonna send this out to the universe now. I hope you get to work with Charlie Puth one day and you
that'd be
guys can
sick.
get in a studio together and because I would love to see what you guys come up with because I think he's an absolute genius.
I do too, he's great.
I mean, his ear and his melodies are killer, and I just, so I hope that works out for you, but Craig, I'm gonna turn it back to you, and, feel like I've done all the talking today, which I don't like to do, so
You did a great job, Mark. Great job.
No, I
Love it.
go ahead.
Do actually have a question. So
Mhm.
between the lessons and, you got the Zoom lessons, you got the vocal lessons, the piano lessons, and whatever else you're teaching. What about your live playing in Nashville? Because what we're
Mhm.
hoping is that people that will hear this show will actually come and see you live. That's kind of the end game here, and to purchase your tunes and such. So tell us what kind of live, if you're doing open mics, just or shows.
Yeah, I mean, I've done a bunch of writers rounds and, like, open mic kinda stuff, and usually I just post online whenever I'm doing that stuff. Nowadays, I've been singing with Blue House Band once a week as a background vocalist, which has been really fun, and they have a great, full band open mic, which they do every Monday, so I've been doing that once a week and
Where's
hadn't I
that? Where's that
Yeah,
it's
what
at
happening?
is
Vinyl
that?
Lounge once a week on Mondays. At
Okay.
7:30, you guys should come, it's great. And then I just kinda do shows here and there. I've been lucky enough, I've played, like, 2 shows this year. Nothing on the books right now, but hoping more stuff comes up. I love performing live. It's really great.
It's cool. That's
Yeah.
so
Well, we're
cool.
gonna, of course, we're gonna have all your information on the podcast, and so people can get hold of that. And
Mhm.
just as a as a disclaimer, Madeline has actually helped the Songwriters Tales podcast since we are brand new. Mark and I were so just buried under getting the shows produced and recorded and reaching out and doing all
Mhm.
the PR stuff that Madeline came alongside us and said, "Here, we're gonna help you guys get your show out more to more people because that's something we didn't understand and clearly you did, and we want to publicly thank you for that
Yes.
because
Of
if
Yes.
you're
course.
if you're
You have
hearing this
been
show and you know about it, you can
yeah.
thank this young lady right here."
Yeah, exactly. You have been such a help for us, and we we're not digital natives like you. So when you say you start talking about this and this and this and this, Craig and I just start kind of glazing over, like what?
It's funny. It's like the blessing and curse of my generation is like we sat for so many hours on TikTok and Instagram. It's like we didn't even choose to know all these things. So I'm so happy to help and
Well,
good for you
thank you.
guys. You weren't as sucked into TikTok and social media as I was. But
No,
very happy to help.
thank you. Thank you.
Well, Mark and I learned something about TikTok and Instagram and all that. I don't know if we mentioned this to you or not, but Tennille Arts was on our show, and she had a song called "Don't Ruin Flowers," and so we asked her about that, and she explained it. She was tell the story. Tell the story, Mark. You tell it better than
Yeah,
me.
yeah, she was saying, oh, I guess she was going through a breakup or some kind of a situationship that wasn't working out. And so she went on TikTok just to kind of cruise through the heartbreak things, just to kind of feel better and listen to other people's stories.
Misery loves
And
company.
misery loves company. And she went in, she said the comments were gold. And this particular thing was, I guess they got into this jag of, oh, he thinks he can just bring flowers and make everything okay, just bring flowers and then be, a whatever 5 minutes later. And she said that she was reading through the comments and someone said, oh, don't ruin flowers. Like, and
That's funny.
she said, oh my God, that's a great song idea. So she, of course, wrote it down. And of course, now I'm hanging out in the comments of TikTok about, I don't know, 2 or 3 times a week, just looking for a great song title.
People are hilarious online. Like
They are.
it's amazing, like, the commentary and, like, is hilarious, like, I've always loved pop culture, but this era is so great
It
because it's
really
like now
is.
everyone's a star and everyone's in the comment sections and adding their 2 cents and making videos, and it's like it's really funny.
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
is
it
that is
really
a
is.
fact.
But,
Yeah.
but, it's been so great to talk to you, and I want to thank you for taking your time to hook up with us here and talk to us because this is and I've said this, and Craig knows this. My favorite part of this show is the artist spotlight because we talk to people who've been on the road, done really well, people who are just starting out, people who are kind of middle there, almost there, and every story is different and they're all great. And it's so inspiring to me to see that the world of music is in good hands and that there's still people raising the bar, which is exciting to me. Because it
I
doesn't
will
matter about
add
the genre. Go ahead.
I will add, Mark, everybody's story is different, but it's also the same. And the way
Yeah.
that it's the same is anybody who's doing what we all do, there's a passion that you don't
Amen.
usually get when you're working in a hardware store or something. Nothing wrong with that, but there's
Mhm.
just a certain passion there. You'll find that in different careers, but with what we do, if you don't have this passion, you're not going to do it because that's what drives it. So,
Well, it's a hard road, and if you don't love what you're doing, because the downs are just as much, if not more, than the ups.
yeah,
And so
yeah.
but it's a part of who you are. It's a part when you have to communicate. Skip Ewing, who's a great writer, said, if you're a songwriter, you write, and there's no way you can quit because if you're a songwriter, you can say, I'm done. I quit. I'm not going to do this anymore. And Craig and I have both said that to each other and to
Yeah.
ourselves.
Yeah.
And 5 minutes later, you'll go, oh, that's a good idea for a song. I love that melody. Why is that melody sticking in my head? And it's who we are. And it is a pleasure to talk to you, Maddie. And I want to tell folks you're going to close the show for us with your song that you wrote with Ethan. And Craig, I'm going to let you close us out, and then we will let Maddie carry us out with a song.
I don't know much more that I can say except thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you very much.
Hmm.
You
Hmm.
are
Thank
awesome.
you.
It is such a blessing to have you in our lives and know you and
Hmm.
watch where you're headed. So and of course we will be talking regularly probably. So we love it
Hmm.
and thanks again for coming on the show.
Of course, thank you for having me. This was so fun.
All right.
See ya.
Take care.
Thanks, see ya.
Taking the paintings in the
used to be, and it clutters everything right in front of me. Ooh, to live in comfy silence. Who knew my thoughts could be so violent? You can't find love like that just anywhere at all. Walk past the mirror, look into the walls. Blank spaces cherish you the deepest. You can't forsake what knows your secrets. One lonely night can erase years of happy memories. Life isn't whatever's on TV. To live in comfy silence. Who knew my thoughts could be so violent? You can't find love like that just anywhere at all. Walk past the mirror, look into the walls. Calmness is my resting place. Bodies are a waste of space. I'll never know what the suffering was for, but I sure hope I get 65 years more. Ooh, to live in comfy silence. Who knew my thoughts could be so violent? You can't find love like that just anywhere at all. Walk past the mirror, look into the wall.